Wow. Well, if I was singing that, I would now have to have a rest. But I'm not going to have a rest because in the studio is Darryl Davenport. Darryl, welcome to Capital Events.
Thank you very much.
Now, I know why you're here, but the people at home don't really know why you're here. You are actually with an organisation called Para and Ability Dance WA Incorporated.
That is correct, yes.
Perhaps explain that first and then go on to the event that we're all talking about.
Certainly. So Para and Ability Dance WA is a not-for-profit organisation that is run to provide dance opportunities for people living with disabilities.
Right.
We're a not-for-profit organisation that is run purely by volunteers. And we rely on the generous support of different grants and sponsorships and fundraising for our events.
So what's your role in the organisation?
I'm the chairman.
You're the chairman.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, your responsibilities then must be twofold. Well, more than twofold, but two I'm thinking of. One, an administrative thing to make sure tomorrow happens.
Yes.
And the other is an artistic thing to make sure that you are actually not just using the title of dance as a coverall for nothing much. You've got to get that artistic thing across.
We absolutely do. And what is beautiful about tomorrow's event, which we'll tell you more about, is the fact that the competitors have chosen their own dance of their choice and music of their choice. So tomorrow's spectacular is going to have a lot of different rhythms, from your standard waltz, tangos and foxtrots, through to some more party dances, some macarenas and some things called the alley cats, which is what our kids class do, as well as your standard Latin cha-cha rumba jives.
Tell me, with tomorrow, we'll go straight to tomorrow now. It's got a very long title.
It has, unfortunately.
Yeah, Special Olympics Dance Sport Development Competition, and the word dance sport goes together, despite the fact of a capital S on sport.
That's right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, you explain that. Are we going to have Morris dancing, by the way? Group wants to know with tongue-in-cheek.
I love Morris dancing. I'd love to have Morris dancing, but we're not having Morris dancing tomorrow, no.
Well, I tell you what, after this is all over, ring me up. We'll sort something out for that dreadful person staring at me through the glass. Our producer, Greg Salter, we'll get him there. I'd love to see him in that funny little costume.
Yes, I think it's a wonderful, Morris dancing is wonderful. I really enjoy it when I watch it. Yeah.
Okay, back to the long title, but it is trying to cover a whole lot of interest areas.
It is. So it's a partnership. So Special Olympics are involved in this, and Special Olympics, of course, looks after people with intellectual disabilities and autism throughout the world. And this is one of their local events that they're running. And they've partnered with Para and Ability Dance to put this event together. We are part of DanceSport, which is the peak body for ballroom dancing, competitive ballroom dancing. And so they're also, the judges are representatives from DanceSport.
So with tomorrow, I see it runs from 2 to 6 p.m. in 1 Bradshaw Crescent, Manning, tomorrow 2 p.m. 6 p.m. From what you've just said, though, there's an awful lot to pack into that. In effect, short time slots.
There is. We've had a fabulous response from our competitors, and we've had 40 entries, which is fantastic.
That's great.
Yes, we've got people with intellectual disabilities, with autism, but also we have what they call unified events, and these are for people with other types of disabilities. And we have 11 people dancing that are either deaf-blind, blind, or have low vision, as well as we have 6 people that will be dancing in wheelchairs, doing paradance.
Incredible. Can I just say then, do you have people referred to you, or do you go out and look for people with both talent and a possible disability that goes with it?
No, it's mainly referrals. So I run a dance school which specialises with dancing for people with disabilities.
Why?
Well, it's a long story, but the short version is that I've been teaching in DanceSport for over 30 years, and I realised there was just this lack of opportunity for people, that there was a need. And when I explored that need and scratched the itch, it was big.
And I think I found this singularly appropriate, as I mentioned to you before, that we're talking about the Special Olympics Dance Sport Development Competition over this West Australia Day long weekend.
Exactly.
Celebrating the state.
Exactly.
So it is a celebration of all these people, yes?
Oh, it certainly is a celebration, and it will have a fun, joyous atmosphere. We've got about 25% of the people that will be dancing. This is their very first competition, because this is actually the inaugural Special Olympics Dance Sport Development Competition. We are holding a state games with the Special Olympics later in the year, but this is our inaugural one. We ran a development day last year, just to sort of test it, to see what
people are going to be around.
Yeah, exactly. Just as a tester, and it proved very successful, and people enjoyed the event, so we're going forward.
Do you know, do you have to book to come and be a speckled potato to watch this?
No, you don't. So we've had very generous grant from the City of South Perth, and because of their funding, we've been able to offer this free to spectators.
Wonderful. And
Yes.
I see too, Rotary Como is involved,
Yes.
as well as Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics.
Absolutely, yes. So it is a partnership with a few organisations. The Rotary Club of Como have been very helpful. They've provided our dancers with uniforms, so polos and jackets, and also backpacks for their water bottles and their dancing shoes.
So how will people, if they turn up at Bradshaw Crescent Manning, or do they go to a doorway? It's undercover.
It is undercover. So
That's good because it's going to rain.
Yes, I believe so. It's held at the Manning Community Hall, which is a lovely new purpose-built building for community events such as this. There's parking underneath. And people can go up through a lift to get to the main venue. So from a rain point of view, there should be no problems.
Yes.
And then it's a lovely big venue with a lot of seating, so we encourage people to come along.
And so will there be multiple events happening at once, or just one event and then the next?
Yeah, it is one event and then the next.
Good.
Yeah, it's one person on the floor at a time doing their presentation. So it's a little bit like Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, yes.
That they've put their own music together, costuming together, their own dance choreography together. So yeah, it'll be one event after the other.
So correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said this is the first such event.
It is our inaugural event. It is, yes.
So your thoughts are, depending on how many people turn up, I suppose, you've got to do it again.
Yes, as I said, we are looking at doing the state games later in the year with the Special Olympics, which will be in September, and that will be held at HBS Stadiums. That will be a nice big event.
So this is happening, and we're trumpeting the West Australian thing, but does this happen nationally as well?
Unfortunately, not at the moment. So
we're leading the way.
We are definitely leading the way. So what's happening is we want to get this up and running in the other states, and the other states are interested, but WA is a little bit ahead at the moment with regards to holding our first competition in partnership with the Special Olympics.
Good.
But we do need to get this running in the other states because it's definitely proving very popular here in WA.
So I would make maybe a silly suggestion, but if you're at home thinking of going, don't forget after the event to tell your interstate friends about it, and they can perhaps do some lobbying.
Yes, please do.
Elsewhere as well. All right, just bringing this to a close before we go back on the details here again. Just last thing for you. And this may be a nasty question in one sense. Are we doing enough for our disabled?
I think with the NDIS coming through, there's been a lot more opportunities for people to actually be able to get involved in community events.
Right.
And I think a lot of state sporting organisations are opening up their pathways for people with disabilities. So I think it is definitely moving forward, and there's many more opportunities than there has been in the past.
So an organisation like yours would welcome inquiries, presumably, about what's happening, how do we become involved with the overall thing, not just your particular area?
Most definitely. And because we are an organisation that's run by volunteers, there's lots of different jobs available that people may be interested in taking, even if they're a non-dancer.
Yes.
But just like the idea of people having this opportunity.
Well, I reckon I'd like to nominate my producer, Greg, to do special work with Morris dancing.
Yes, there we go.
He's going out the door. What? Bye, Greg. Now, just to finish this up, please just run through the detail for tomorrow.
Certainly. So it is a free event for the general public to come along and watch people with disabilities dancing. There'll be people with intellectual, vision impaired, and also with paradancing through our wheelchairs. It's from 2 till 6 at the Manning Community Hall, which is at 1 Bradshaw Crescent in Manning.
Excellent. Well, all the very best, and perhaps in a few programs down the road you can come back and tell us how it went and all that sort of thing, and what further will happen from the whole event, what's going to happen in the rest of Australia too.
Great. I would welcome that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, thank you. Those are another group of great and talented West Australians we've been talking about today, as is this program to celebrate WA. So I think we'll go back now, if it's all right with you, Darryl.
Yes.
We'll go back to listening to some of our talented West Australians who've made their name in the various entertainment-y type areas.